So people, have heard about how good Instagram stories work or how well they work. And we can debate whether or not Instagram stories work. What we cannot debate is how well social media works. So social media is really, really good at driving attention and like bringing awareness and creating more affinity with your audience towards your brand. So these are all very good things to do, especially during the holiday season. The question is, how do you do that if you're also a busy entrepreneur, someone who is working like you're doing the work? I mean, it's with us, the majority of the people who we consult with right now, maybe not the majority, but a good portion of the people who we work with are in their business, meaning that they're out doing holiday shows, they're in the process of doing, they're not in the process of documenting so that they can post. So this is where this little Marketing Monday lesson comes in. There are a few things that you can do in order to make sure that during the holiday, or even if you've never done it before. So I was going to say during the holiday, you don't stop or delay or, some of y'all ain't doing it now, right? And so I understand that. And so I'm not going to make the claim that you will continue doing the marketing that because some of you are not doing it. But what if you wanted to get started with Instagram stories? I actually have a Marketing Monday on Instagram stories that you can refer back to that talks about the kind of logistics about Instagram stories. I might go a little bit into stuff like that here, but I want you to, if you have questions about like literally what they are and how they work, go over there. So let's talk about how to make them work for the holiday season, for holiday marketing, for what we're doing right now. The very first and most important thing, scheduling. Okay, so this is the part that a lot of people get, I would say, bogged down on, right? And so when I say you need to schedule your Instagram stories, I mean that you can take recorded video and use that video as your stories, or you can take Canva and create some Instagram story images. They actually have story-sized images in Canva. You can create those in there and then post them. If you're using something like Adobe Spark, which we've talked about for video editing here before, I've done classes on Adobe Spark before, you can take an Adobe Spark video and schedule that as an Instagram story. What you're going to want to make sure is that the story is telling a story, and that if you are taking video, let's say from throughout the year, which I would love for you to be collecting 15 and 20-second videos all year round, documenting what's going on. When you have a collection of videos like that, then all you really need to do for the holiday season is take those videos and change the overlay. And that's something that you would do here in your device when you're scheduling your story. Now, there are several software that are actually capable of scheduling an Instagram story. And I won't go into every single one of them because it doesn't really matter. The ones that I would say I wouldn't at this point, if you're really brand new to doing this whole scheduling thing, you want to use a software that is going to give you a notification and send that information to your phone, so that when you get that information on your phone, you can actually do the post yourself, so that you are, you're taking the 4.5 seconds that it takes to pull up the image or the video, put in the time, date, stamp, or whatever the thing is that you're going to add that makes it look like a really great story, details about the holiday or whatever the story arc is for the day, and we'll talk about that in a second. Whatever the story arc is for the day, you're putting that information in at the moment, and then you're posting it. And then that way your Instagram story is actually live. So you're just scheduling a reminder to yourself to actually do the work. Buffer is a software that you can use to do that. There are several software that you can use to do that, but Buffer, Sendable, Later and Buffer are the two that people are most used to using, and you can schedule notifications to yourself so that you can get your Instagram stories out there. So you can do the same thing with Social Pilot and Promo Republic. And so I've talked about all of those scheduling software. I will say you probably can do it with Hootsuite as well. I know a lot of you people like Hootsuite. I personally can't stand Hootsuite, so there's that. But yeah, if you are using Hootsuite, you can indeed send yourself notifications to post your stories. Now, how does any of this work? How and why? What is the story and why does this matter? So if we're talking about Instagram stories, What I want you to be clear about is that your Instagram story on the day of the day, let's say you're going to do, let's use Black Friday as an example. Let's say you want to schedule a bunch of Instagram stories for Black Friday so that those stories go out over the course of the day. Well, what you're going to do is essentially you're going to create a storyboard for yourself. You can write it out on paper. You can put it in a Google Doc. You can put it on Google Slides. Like, it doesn't matter how you do it. Your story arc, though, is you're going to tell let's say you want to do 10 posts for the day, 10 Instagram posts, Instagram stories. In the stories, you're going to post 10 times. In that, every post needs to connect. So what is the story arc for the day? What story are you telling on Black Friday? That's the part that takes a little bit of creativity, and it's not how most people use their stories, but if you're using your stories right, that's what you're doing. You're telling a story along the whole course of the day. I will use an example of one of my clients who has been on Good Morning America. And this is not a humble brag. I did not help them get on Good Morning America. I am not a PR person. But they were on Good Morning America, and we knew they were going to be on Good Morning America. So a part of participating with them in them being on the show was creating a story arc around being on Good Morning America. So there were posts that we did leading up to it on the day before that were just standard posts, like big things coming tomorrow morning, keep an eye out. And then on that day, even though I was not able to be there, did not have instantaneous, ability to take pictures and things like that, I simply took the images from the internet of Good Morning America and what the set looked like, took things that were available to me to use. And this is social media where it's selling anything. I'm just putting these in the story. So, talking about, keep an eye out. We're going to be showing up somewhere between 8:30 and 9. And, that would, the first couple of posts were like teaser posts about what's going to happen, the first couple of stories and the first couple of posts in the story series. And then the next few were about the time frame that things were happening. So what was happening on set, what was being said, things like that. So the stories were actually cataloging, I'm sure I'd be going in this direction for you guys. The stories were cataloging exactly what was going on through the day. And then that last maybe 3 posts were, in case you missed it, here's a link, or where to find a link, because don't have 10,000 followers. So there's no swipe up, but there was, what to do in order to get the product that was mentioned on Good Morning America and all that good stuff. So it was a story arc, meaning that during that day, all of the stories were about that one thing. There was nothing else being posted that day in stories. There were other things that being posted on Instagram in regular Instagram posts, and that was also being posted about in Instagram. So there were regular posts going out about being on GMA, but then there were also Instagram stories going out about being on GMA. That is what I mean by creating a story arc. So for Black Friday, you want to do a similar thing. So if there is deals that you have throughout the day on Black Friday, maybe you have posts that go out at certain times of the day that are highlighting different deals that are happening at your store or with their products during Black Friday. Or maybe you have the same deal going all day. So I have several clients who have the same deal all weekend, Friday through Cyber Monday. So Friday, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday, they have the same deal going all weekend. Well, when you have the same deal going all weekend long, what you want to do is put yourself in a position to capitalize on that by highlighting products. So maybe it's not one product that is going to be, that you're going to be talking specifically about, but maybe it is not a single product, but not a single product that's on sale. I'm trying to make sure that I say this right so that you guys know what I'm talking about. Not a single product that's on sale, but a single product that can be highlighted if, let's say, it's 30% off of everything in the store. Okay, then that means that over the course of the Instagram stories, maybe you're highlighting like 10 different products, and then what their regular price would be, and then what the price would be with the discount. Or if it's a buy one, get one free, or a buy this many, get this many free, if it's whatever the deal is, then you're highlighting throughout the day, what are the things that you can buy in order to get that deal? What are the things that you can do, telling the customer, what are the things you can do in order to get this deal? Throughout your stories, you're kind of all day long focusing on what the Black Friday deal is. This helps your customer to kind of understand what you're trying to accomplish and make it a lot easier for them to follow along with what your story is, what it is you're doing. It actually builds anticipation. You're telling a story, you're creating a narrative, okay? And so that is what I want you to be thinking about when it comes to doing stories on Instagram for holidays. It doesn't matter whether it's this holiday or any other holiday. Don't get too creative, and make sure you're telling a story, not 20 stories, but a single story. What is the story about today? The story is about Black Friday. What about Black Friday? Well, we're going to highlight 10 different products that if you bought them today, this is how much they would cost. There you go. And that's a fantastic way to do it. Let people know how to buy the product. What's the search term on your website? Whatever the thing is, make sure you have enough information in there for them to get, like, to actually participate with you. Don't worry about the swipe up. If they need to click the link in the bio, tell them, click the link in the bio and hit search term A, like, you know, whatever that search term is. Search vanilla if that's the name of your product, or search, you know, lumens if that's the name of your product. Whatever the thing is, or grapefruit for that specific soap. Make sure that you're being specific in what it is they have to do. Don't worry about, oh, I don't have this, or oh, I don't have that. This is not the time for that. Plus, it never matters. It never, ever matters. As much as everyone makes such a huge deal about swipe ups and having all these followers and all that, you got to leverage what you got. And everyone has the ability to use stories. Here's a few key rules for stories, and then I'm out. So the few key rules that you really need to focus on when you're thinking about doing Instagram stories is that you have a time limit. On top of the fact that you have a time limit, you have an intention limit. So try to make sure that you're keeping your Instagram stories to, I don't know, 5 seconds. Like, they should really be short. Like, when I say a short video, I mean a short video. If you are going to tell a story like verbally, like if you're going to try to sit in front of a camera and tell a story, you're going to have to break that story up into, I would say, no longer than 15 seconds. I would actually say more like 10 seconds each, so that they kind of jump to the next story, and you can do that in a single setting. So you could take a video like what I'm doing here, I'm pointing at my computer, what I'm doing here, and turn that into a series and post all of those throughout the entire day. Now, mind you, this is like, I have no idea how long I've been talking, but like 20 minutes. And so you would have like to post like a whole lot of stories in order to get all of this into a single day. But you could totally do that. And I've seen some of the people who I follow on Instagram stories will be telling a story, and they know that the story is going to cut out. So they have the entire video. So they essentially hold the phone, tell their story to their device, and then they take that story, that video, and then snip it. So they're like, okay, it ended there. The next story starts here, and the next one, and the next one. And you can totally do that with Instagram stories. It's a little bit more time consuming than if you just make the stories actually only 10 seconds long in the first place. You can use a mixture of video and images. You don't have to use just images. You can use videos and images. And another really cool thing that you can do with stories, if you want to weave in some customer element to your stories, then you can also take your customers, when your customers are posting about your products, you can take their posts, their videos, whatever they're doing, and turn that into a story as well, but only if it actually fits in with your narrative, okay? The Instagram story for a business needs to be a story. You can ignore this. Obviously, there are people who are doing quite well with Instagram stories without telling a story, but I would say those people are probably telling a long-term story. So even if they don't have a specific story that they're telling on a specific day, they're telling a really long-term story. Like, they're telling a story over several days or a month or whatever. They just don't even realize they're doing it, but they're definitely telling a story, okay? And like, the light is so crazy today. But I think you can still see me. I know whatever's going on behind me, it's a reflection of the window. But I'm going to take questions in the comments below, as I always do. So if you have any questions about anything I've said today, or if you have, like, if you're using Instagram stories and you want to share how it's working for you, please comment below. And of course, as per usual, you guys are going to do what you always do, which is to like watch this, not comment, and then like tell me in person. That's also fine. I accept that as a reasonable response to reality. I will say Black Friday is coming. It is not too late. It is not too late for you to figure out what your Black Friday deal is. Prepare for it before Thursday, before Wednesday even. have an email scheduled, have something ready to roll so that when Black Friday comes around, your audience knows what the deal is, how to redeem it, and all that stuff. It is totally still possible to do all that. It is last minute, but it is doable, okay? So I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to think really hard about trying to do something a little bit different. Even if you're only posting like 2 stories on Black Friday, try to do something like that. Try to do something a little bit different. Put yourself out there in a little bit of a different way. I think your audience will appreciate it. And you might actually get results or something. I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm not just telling you guys this stuff for no reason. I mean, I know it works, but I'm hoping that you also like do it and see it works for yourself. Okay. And that's it for this Marketing Monday. I again will meet you in the comments and we will chat away. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's a happy Thanksgiving for those of you who, of course, I won't see you again before then. I will be back for Marketing Monday on next Monday. So I will see you in a week, dudes. Hopefully none of us will be any more pounds heavier than we are right now. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later.